goddamn military.
The
And
Pentagon,
I'm fucking livid that we are stuck in the timeline where Alex Jones is right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in today. Thanks again, everybody who came out last night, Facebook, YouTube. We had a great show last night with Reed Coverdale, Joe Evans, AJ Olding, and Caleb Dyer. Tonight, though, we're not going to do this whole little free-form rant. We're just going to have a conversation, sit down with somebody who's been on the inside, who's been actively involved with what's going on. I'd like to welcome to the stream, Stephen Nass. Hey, Steve. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, Justin. Glad to be here.
So fill everybody in. What's your role and what's going on? And
the whole thing? Well, I'm on the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire Executive Committee as the...
Which one?
The only one?
Exactly. All right. The
I only know
affiliate.
of one. I only know of one. You can't prove to me that a second one exists. I have more details on that in a second, I guess. But yeah, and I'm membership director, IT director, whatever, help out as wherever I can on there. But yeah, so my role is being one of the executive committee members with Gilletta for these past few months since March, and going through all the drama that surrounded that. It's been a grand old time.
So I think at this point, everybody's tuned into the drama. Everybody should be filled in on what happened last night with Joe Bishop Henchman and the Libertarian Party's executive committee, not the full LNC, just the executive committee met last night, and failed to pass a motion to, return LPNH's stolen property to them?
Yeah, the bare minimum of what we were asking for basically is just to have our website and assets back. I mean, just our website or just our membership list alone would be fantastic, just to be able to get their contact info again, so we can reach out to our members and explain what's going on to them. Gilletta has not done that, even though she has that contact info. So it'd just be great to even reach out to them with an email, even if the national committee did it, and just let them know. But yeah, we want our assets back, and sadly it failed in the vote. And so we just have to go back into a waiting game. Which really isn't our attitude here in New Hampshire anyway. We have not waited at all.
And we've got shit to do. I don't know about you, but I'm leaving Saturday to go up to the White Mountains for the biggest Liberty event in North America of the year, right here in New Hampshire. And if the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire doesn't have their assets, doesn't have their equipment, and doesn't have access to be able to process donations, process memberships, what are we doing here? Why is the LNC really willing to, for the sake of process, nip in the butt our biggest recruiting event of the year?
I mean, and at this point, we're already down a week and a whole recruiting event, because this is Bike Week, which is a massive motorcycle festival in New Hampshire. And we are all geared up, ready to go do outreach there and see if these bikers would be interested in the ideas of liberty. And, we had our Nolan chart quiz ready to go, but it's just, we're stuck dealing with national, committee nonsense and politics instead of actually pushing the ideas of freedom.
Right, Ian. Beyond that, you've been working. You said you're the membership director. People have been complaining. The big complaint that we've seen from people outside the party is that the Mises Caucus is destroying membership. Well, one, you're not a member of the Mises Caucus. I wasn't a member of the Mises Caucus till yesterday, after the fact. How can they claim that Mises Caucus is destroying membership when, what was the actual number? How much has membership grown by since you were elected and in charge of the membership committee?
I don't have the exact numbers because it's hard to get them when I don't have the website. But I mean, we were pre-election. We were actually before the new year, because a lot of these Mises folk jumped on board with our party after the new year even. But we were below 100 people in the party, and as of a week or two ago, we're at about 150 members, I believe. So we're really exploding in popularity. And our goal in our membership committee is to hit 200 members by the end of July, which taking a couple of weeks off here hurts us a lot. Like, we're expecting a big push from PorcFest.
Yeah, taking a couple of weeks off is one thing. Taking a couple of weeks off leading right into the single largest gathering of libertarians in North America, which is in your state. Like, how is that recoverable? I mean, what's your plan? What's the EC planning? What's LPNH planning to do in the event that you don't have access to everything in time for, well, this weekend?
At this point, we're just assuming we're not going to have access, because we just don't know. We have to plan for the inevitable. So I have hundreds of flyers that I believe are probably sitting on my doorstep right now. They should have been delivered by now today, that are just totally useless. Awesome. So we're just planning new ones. They're totally useless because they point to a website that we don't have access to. So there's no point in getting people to sign up for a membership if there's no page for them to do so. So we're just going to design new flyers. We're going to start over. We have to move quickly here because the LNC is going to meet Friday and then maybe Saturday, I guess. And at that point, that gives us, if they say, let's say at midnight again, when their meeting gets done, they decide to give us access again. And let's say instantly Gilletta hands everything over and we get access again. That gives us 1 day to get ready for
one day to get ready for PorcFest. But like, let's get back. The LNC is meeting Friday to sole focus of discussing the New Hampshire situation and what's going on with the Libertarian Party in New Hampshire. What happened last night, though, after the EC meeting is almost more important than the upcoming meeting itself. Joe Bishop Henchman unilaterally started a ballot to just disaffiliate the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire. Like, just straight up disaffiliate.
Double down on this,
with no specific cause. He wouldn't list any cause. He said, you violated the statement of principles. Okay, how? What did they do? And he ruled that his motion was specific enough and that we didn't deserve to know what he thinks we did wrong.
Yeah, he really has not explained his intentions at all. He sent out a few emails, all delayed as much as he could, and really hasn't explained his side of the story hardly at all. It definitely has not explained his intent in this whole matter. It just seems clear he wants to set himself against us in any way that he can. But to your previous question, what are we going to do? We're making new flyers. All our committees are at full tilt as much as we can. Let's just keep pushing. And since we don't have access to our website and membership roles, I've been working today on just replacing them. And hopefully we can go back to our former assets that we had there. But in the meantime, I have a website up now, and it's just about ready to go live. And it'll be able to let people sign up for membership, let people view our platform, our bylaws, contact us. Because right now we don't even have our email addresses for the party. So our members and the public can't contact us.
So that's a big question. I actually had somebody reach out to me online asking how they could get in touch with the LPNH AC. It's from another state party. Somebody's worried, trying to fact find and gather. I think for judging what their state party is trying to do in response to this. How can people get in touch with you guys right now?
Through our private social media and private emails and private phone numbers.
Okay,
that's it.
So if you have touch with them, not only is Steven's one of our at-large, Sean Dempsey's another. You can also look at Sean Brennan or Nolan Pelletier are the other remaining members of the executive committee. But for anybody watching right now, anybody who just wants to try and help how you can right now, because there is a motion to disaffiliate the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire, I want you to go to savelpnh.com right now. And that is a petition to appeal the possibility of disaffiliation to the party's judicial committee. We need 10% of the delegates from the last national convention to sign that petition for us to be able to submit it to the judicial committee. I think we're there. I think we're already close. Believe it or not, in a day or two, we've already have over 100 signatures of delegates from 2020. We have about 400 signatures total already. It's crazy. And we're going to get in contact. We're going to send out an email blast to everybody who does sign that petition, letting them know the status of what's going on. But if you want to get in touch with members of the EC, you're going to have to contact them through private social media, or if they want to make their information public, so you can do that. I'm going to put it up on my page on Facebook and Twitter. So anybody who wants to get in touch with them will have a way to get in touch with them. In the meantime, you can go to savelpnh.com and sign that petition so we can nip this in the butt with the LNC before it does become a problem.
Yeah, I mean, that'll definitely help out a lot. And we are like trying to raise some money for legal expenses that we're almost certainly going to have to incur at this point as well. Plus the cost of putting together a new website and all that good stuff is, not nothing. But yeah, I mean, we definitely want the support, and especially we want to hear from the other states and see what their opinions are on this, because we can, together we're a lot stronger against the LNC, and to get them to do the right thing compared to just as individuals.
Michael, so yes, you can sign. It doesn't matter if you're from Massachusetts. The Libertarian Party Judicial Committee is only going to count the signatures if you match up on the list of the delegates from the 2020 National Convention. But if you want to sign that petition, we are going to use that email list to keep in touch with everybody, let them know the status of things and how they're going up, and give you a chance to opt into further communications to learn more about LPNH. It doesn't matter where in the country you're from. This is a deal that affects anybody who cares about the Libertarian Party. Tricia, what do they need the signatures for? You missed it. Tricia, according to the LNC bylaws, 10% of delegates to the previous national convention can sign a petition requesting an appeal for the judicial committee of the party to overturn any decision of the national committee or the national executive committee. At savelpnh.com right now, we have a petition going to appeal the decision of disaffiliation in case it happens. So anybody who wants to sign that, we're trying to do it preemptively, because the timing of this, I don't think, is a coincidence. I think the timing of this was to try and catch us as we were on our way to PorcFest, because we only have a 20-day window to appeal.
Yeah. So what you're saying there is, if this happens and we need to appeal, we're going to be gone for a week fully before we can even tackle this, because we're going to be in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere.
Great woods. And if anybody who aren't familiar with PorcFest, it is something you should definitely check out. You can go to porcfest.com, and we're going to get that up on the screen for you right now. Learn about the biggest, the most premier Liberty Festival in the world, and currently the longest running freedom-oriented and libertarian-oriented festival in the world, because we didn't shut down for COVID. Last year, when everyone else was scared, we went right on through and no one got sick. But back to some comments we have. This one, I think we're going to bring up some more questions. Dominic's asking, so what exactly is going on? He is getting conflicting reports. Stephen, why don't you just walk us through what was going on with the executive committee, maybe in the weeks leading up to what happened, and then what happened?
Man, there's a lot to go over here. So let's just go back like 2 weeks. Let's go back 2 weeks from now. We have our executive committee. 50% of it is Mises Caucus. 50% of it is not. And there's a lot of outside pressure coming in on that. And I think that might have been getting to Gilletta, our previous chair. But there was a lot.
She's still currently the chair, right? She's only suspended?
She's only suspended. So okay. She's not completely removed from chair, but she's only suspended for now. We'll see where that process takes us here. But yeah, so there was a lot of pressure and a lot of controversy surrounding our Twitter account, which our Twitter account is run by our communications committee, which has a handful of people on it. And Gilletta is kind of, as the chair, the overseer of that committee, as well as the committee has a chair on its own. Personally, I don't have anything to do with that committee, but it does exist. And in our executive committee chats, you can often find me saying, can we please not discuss the Twitter anymore? I don't want to have to review every single tweet that comes through. Like, take it to the committee. Like,
well, that's the thing. It was an ad hoc committee too. The communications committee doesn't even exist in the LPNH bylaws, the real ones.
Correct.
So it was an ad hoc committee, which means the chair had the unilateral ability to manage that committee and dismiss anyone from that committee, or take it over at any time she wanted.
Yeah, and I've explained that to Joletta that you could just she had the password, and it was her email address that logged into the Twitter account. So like anytime she could just take it over. But whatever, she chose not to. It's her call, I guess. But we're going through weeks of that, and a little bit of controversy about our tweets, a lot of bold messaging, a lot of controversial stuff, and we actually set at that point a meeting of the executive committee with the sole plan of going over some proposals. I think there were 3 proposals, if I remember correctly, that people came up with on policies for the Twitter account and how to handle the Twitter account to kind of manage it a little more firmly and give them a little more guidance. So we did end up having that meeting, but it was this Monday. And I forget what the date is on that. But so then fast forward to the 7th. Unbeknownst to us, Joletta had contacted the Libertarian National Committee Chair, Joe Bishop Henchman, and got a letter from him stating that she was the chair of the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire, and that her party was the affiliated party with the national level.
Now, was anybody else on the EC made aware that she was in touch with national, or that she had anything going on with the national committee, or
no
anything
idea
like that?
No idea. We all worked, very regularly. Like, this is in all my, I've been with the LP for about a decade, and in all my time, this has been the most active executive committee I've ever been in, and seen the most active like committees in general. I've seen these people. I wasn't planning on working this hard on it, but there's been a lot to do. There were a lot of issues with the past regime of the executive committees, and lots of stuff that needed fixing. And so we've been working really hard to just get up to where our standards were for all of us to operate as a party.
Now, speaking of standards, we want to go back to the social media a bit. Trisha brings up a point. You mentioned they were a little bit controversial, a little bit like if New Hampshire tweets were being used against her as a candidate in Tennessee. I mean, is that really a bigger problem than we wanted to recognize?
Yeah, that could be a problem. It's weird that Tennessee people care about New Hampshire people's Twitter, but that's a fair point. That could be a fair problem for sure. There's nothing I can do about that. If we say taxation is theft and they hold that against you as a candidate, that's going to be what it is, and then the more edgier, bolder messaging that's really pushing the envelope. I mean, of course, if the people in the public hear about it, they're going to push back against you. But I mean, what's your alternative? To avoid that, what are you going to do? No messaging at all?
I mean, I think Trisha nails it here. People are jerks. It's weird.
People are jerks.
No,
I think definitely in any sort of libertarian activism you're doing, if nobody's complaining about it, if in the general public, if nobody's pushing back against it and nobody's complaining, then you're not doing it right. You're just aiming for the status quo, and that's not what we need. We don't need to just be saying, oh, we love the easy post, right? Oh, these kids had a lemonade stand without the government interference. Oh, that's so great. That's so libertarian of them. Yeah, that's cool, but you're not pushing anything with that. We're not getting anywhere. But like I said, I don't have anything to do with Twitter.
You're right.
Because that's not my focus. That's not my
focus. Your
focus
is membership.
Twitter is a cesspool.
Right. That's kind of one of the differences I wanted to point out. Twitter is a cesspool. And I think a lot of the problem libertarians have in general with the Libertarian Party when it comes to marketing and messaging is that libertarians seem to universally adopt the notion and the belief that all politics is local, and that what matters to each libertarian affiliate is really only their own success. they mostly don't care about each other, and their marketing and their messaging is really geared towards their local success. And how was it successful? I mean, you talked about earlier, we've had an almost 50% growth in state party membership since this started. It was affecting people negatively in other parts of the country. And I think it might be time that libertarians did sit down and realize that, yes, all politics is local, but Twitter is global. You don't know where your messaging is going. And when you are tweeting from an account that has a blue check mark, you're the official brand of the party. People aren't reading Libertarian Party of New Hampshire. They're reading Libertarian Party. And then they get someone like Tricia who's knocking on their door, talking about libertarianism. And they're like, oh, no, I heard you guys did X, Y, and Z. No, fuck you. You're gone. That's the problem we're running into, where we are reaching the globalization of communications and marketing, even though our target is local.
But it happens the same to the other parties as well, right? Like Trump does something nonsensical. I'm sure the local Republican candidates get a lot of crap for it. And as much as we don't agree with them, you know, him doing horrible things doesn't mean that they're related.
The difference is the Republicans are big enough of an institution and organization to absorb the damage.
Sure.
And we generally don't have the infrastructure to build back from that. So that is something that I myself, I was in communications with Dave Smith and Angela McArdle and Michael Heiss, and I'm not even a Mises Caucus member at the time. I'm not a Mises Caucus guy, saying, hey, I get what's trying to go on. I get that the Mises Caucus people are trying to be edgy and bold and take a new direction. Can we tone it down? And I was even getting agreement from Mises Caucus leadership who were ticked off about LPNH Twitter and wanted it toned down, and we're trying to work things out with Jeremy. I think Andrew,
but like I said, that's what we were trying to do as an executive committee. We were trying to reel him back in, and now we're going back into that process again. We just had a meeting yesterday about it again and talked about it, and we're talking about it again today. And how do we reel it back again and get it under control? All Gilletta did was delay it by a week. Here we are Wednesday. Like, we could have had this over with by now, but and that's ultimately what's going to come out of all this. There's going to be some short-term damage, but in the long run, it's going to go back. We're going to get the all our assets back. We're going to get back up and running, fully operational again, and we'll just be doing it without a couple people participating. Essentially, decided to go do their own thing.
Now, I'm not going to confirm or deny AJ's allegations in the chat right now. But honestly, it seems that what you're accomplishing as the membership director is all that the Mises Caucus has actually been running on, what they want to do. They want to grow the party. They want to bring more people in. They say they want to talk about Austrian economics, but I really haven't heard many of them do that. So let's focus on what they're actually doing that they say they want to do, which is grow the party and recruit new members. How was it that you had such success in such a short time, like from under 100 to 150 in a couple months since convention is a 50% membership growth in like the blink of an eye?
I definitely have a bunch of reasons why. Like one, first thing we did, fix the website so we can actually not have error messages half the time people try and become a member. That helped a lot. And remove all the dead links on our website that went to 404 pages and just nonsense like that. That was a big one. That took a little bit of time. The website is like half of what it used to be because it was just so bloated with nonsense. But then we got a lot of members of our local Liberty community because they were excited by seeing some of us step up to the plate that were new blood and not the old blood from last year or previous years that kind of just had the wrong messaging, and were very discouraging of new people coming in. And, once you start snowballing that effect of hey, all my friends are joining this thing, that helps a lot. But then our outreach team, we put on some events and we actually got out there and started doing stuff, which our Liberty community had been doing the previous year. All through this shutdown, we were still holding potlucks and festivals and, meetups and that kind of stuff. And the LP was not.
We found out
was telling you to wear a mask.
we found out about what happened while we were all at a barbecue held at the Libertarian Community Center down in West Manchester.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
That was open. That was an open event that we put out to the entire Liberty community, the entire Libertarian Party. Everyone was invited. It was blasted over Facebook in New Hampshire. And the people who didn't show up are the ones who are now on the new executive committee. And they seem to be the only ones who don't show up.
Yeah, the people who don't show up are the ones on the new executive committee, or the fake executive committee. So we've had a bunch of events. We've had meetups, weekly meetups in Manchester, weekly meetups in the Lakes region, monthly meetup. We had one on the Seacoast, one in the Lakes region. Now we're all supposed to go to PorcFest here, and then we have another meetup next month. We're just like, we're giving people a reason to join the party.
And that's great.
At the end of the day.
Right. I'm going to come back to what Nick just had to say, but Southern Northeast says this is an energy they haven't seen in a long time, and that's exciting for a New Hampshire native libertarian. Okay, that's cool. Why the party's been growing, because we're getting the natives, not just the Free Staters, not just the Liberty community, but we're getting natives excited about what libertarians are doing in New Hampshire this year. Nick had a great question though. Why do you think you'll get ballot access back?
You'll get access or the website
access, access to the resources, the website.
Because I don't know about ballot access. That's not my purview. That's my
purview next year. Ballot access is my job next year. But right now, why is it you're so sure we're going to get everything back?
At the end of the day, because let me give two reasons. One, it's rightfully ours, and the LNC knows that it's rightfully ours. They're just dragging their feet on giving it to us back, and a few key people are trying to slow that process down. And two, Gilletta knows that she's going to give it back to us. Since this whole thing went down, they've been slowly, and we don't really publicize this much because it's there's just so many details here, but they've already been slowly giving us stuff back, right? The very first day, all of our stuff was stolen out of our storage unit, and then sneakily they cut the lock and put it all back in, right? Like they knew, if this doesn't go our way, we could get in a bunch of trouble.
They cut the lock?
That's not real. They cut the lock. That's not really self-confidence in your plan when you immediately start conceding things like that and being like, we might get in too much trouble here. If they really believed they were the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire, they wouldn't have had to, quietly, without announcing it, sneak all the stuff back into our storage unit, right? They would just say, we have it because it's ours. Right. Then a day or two later, one of the people on that fake XCOM gives us our Stripe credentials back. We've always they never managed to get the bank account from us. They let us keep the bank account because I think there's too much work for them to get it, and they opened a new bank account on their own name. I've been told, but they gave us our Stripe account back. Not sure why they did that if they're the rightful owners of it. And then the next day, Gilletta gave us. She didn't give us ownership of it, but she gave us back access to our Google Drive account, like our files on the Google Drive, so that we could copy them and download them on our own.
So little by little.
So now, little by little, she's giving up, right? And today, almost nobody knows this, but maybe this is a little premiere announcement here. But I noticed when I'm building our new website here that hopefully it's just a temporary measure, but I'm going over our old website, seeing what I got to copy over, and I noticed, where Gilletta had put her new bylaws, they're no longer there. Our old bylaws are back on the website. Go look out there. You can't find her new bylaws that according to her, are the new legitimate bylaws of the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire are nowhere to be found anymore. They're gone.
Well, that's good news.
If they are the legitimate ones, why are they no longer on the site? Why are the old ones back on the site? I saved her. I saved her new ones. I can have the file still. I can show you all the nonsense that's in it, all the authoritarianism that's in it. But why are the old ones back on the site now? Maybe they're losing some confidence here in their plan, and Maybe they're covering. Maybe they overstepped a little bit, and they're covering their tracks a little bit here, because they know that even if the LNC did not give us access to the website back, the party membership is not going to stand for this. Like, she massively removed a lot of their power within our party, and they're not going to go for that. They're not going to go for the now she has a 4-year term. Now the members need to sign a pledge to become members again. Now you need to become a member for 2 years before you can be a delegate. Like,
yeah. Now, Nick, I think it's far more simple why they're going to get it back. If you follow the LNC's business list, which is available on lp.org, you can go to the Google group where you can see every email that LNC members send to each other for public discussion. The chair did start an actual motion to officially disaffiliate LPNH, and it already has enough no votes to kill the motion. It's a matter of procedure from this point till that motion is killed and utterly squashed. And there are some appeals to the nature of the motion. The reason that I still have Save LPNH up, you'll see it scrolling across the bottom of the screen here, savelpnh.com, that petition is in case, because we don't know what they're going to try next. And we want to keep that petition going to be able to petition to the Judicial Committee in case the chair does try to unilaterally disaffiliate the party over the LNC's objections.
Which she might. I mean, you never know.
So, I mean, AJ makes a great point here, too, about how to not grow the party membership. How the previous EC did everything in their power to not grow the party membership by not acting on the information they had and not actually doing the job of the EC.
Yeah, and that's really sad. Even during all this turmoil in the past few days, we've still been actually growing as a party. We've been unable to add members because we don't have access to the website. But, if somebody were to give us cash or something, I'm sure we could. But the people that have been interested, we've been still trying to loop them in on stuff. Just today I was talking with somebody that lives in Durham, and he heard about this somewhere and said, hey, how can I join you guys? And, as far as I'm concerned, we have a new member again today. Perfect. So it's just going to keep happening like that.
All right. Now, Nick's next question. I've answered this. I believe Jackie Perry was appropriately expelled based on the sections in the bylaws that imply the ability of the EC to discipline members, and based on the precedent that LPNH has expelled members in the past, that it was an appropriate thing to do. You're on the EC. Why don't you walk us through the discussion of how that happened and what went down with that? Because that was being used as the big excuse of why everything happened.
Yeah, which was just some manipulative nonsense. So on our EC, we have a Signal chat, which is Signal Messenger chat that we use for communication during the day, separate from meetings. And Gilletta brought forward to the EC in their screenshot of Jackie Perry spreading information about her private work and private information, saying go yell at her for whatever. I don't know what she was complaining about, but something. And Gilletta said that she was being harassed and doxxed by Jackie Perry, and wanted us to do something about it. So one of the members of the EC, to jump to Gilletta's defense against this harassment, made a motion, or made an emergency meeting motion to eject Jackie Perry from our party, and we all voted on it. And Gilletta abstained from her in the voting because she said it was a conflict of interest, which to us made sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, if you have a personal beef with someone on a vote like that, makes sense that you would abstain. She presided over that meeting, Gilletta did, and Gilletta did not object to these proceedings at any point. Before we made that motion to remove Jackie Perry from the party, Gilletta, was there for discussion on, can we do this? Because we did say, we want to remove her from the party. Do we actually have the ability to do that or not? And so I went and looked in the bylaws, and I found a section, I read through the whole bylaws, and I said, I don't see anything that very specifically says this is how you remove someone from the party. But I did see the section that basically says that the executive committee has the power to do the general business of the party and oversee the needs of the party. And so, based on that, and having worked in nonprofits before and been on boards before, it seemed like this was a reasonable thing to do. And I explained my reasoning to the executive committee too. I said, if we expel her and it's the wrong thing, we will, we can say right away, this is the process for taking it up with our judicial committee, who will delve into it deeper because that's their job. And if we were incorrect, then we'll just add her back in again. And
exactly. There's a process.
And here's the thing. Yeah, with that process, so we removed her from the party, keeping in mind we had already removed her from our Facebook page after repeated violations of the Facebook terms of service, as well as our individual group terms against harassment and berating other members in the party on that page. So it's like, this is building up, right? Like, she's been warned repeatedly. And then so we removed her, and we made it well known that this was the process. You could take it up with the judicial committee if you wanted to. Any member of the party could do that. Jackie could do that. Anybody could. Nobody did. In the end, after this whole coup went down, our executive committee, one of our members, brought it to the judicial committee, and it's just like, let's just send it through the judicial committee, see what happens. Our member Jackie didn't make the case to try. She doesn't want to get back in. She's not knocking at her door trying to get back in. She's not going through the process. But you know what? Let's just, before the time runs out on being able to do that, let's just do it anyway and see what they have to say. And we'll abide by that.
Jackie even posted a big long rant on Facebook, like rejecting the offer to join the new party, joining Gilletta and Leslie's new party. Mr. Reardon makes a great point. You remember when Jackie got expelled from being a co-host of Free Talk Live? Do you actually know how hard it is to get removed from Free Talk Live? One of their hosts on a show put out a bounty and said she was willing to pay a bounty on anybody who killed a police officer and could prove they did it and got away with it. They got kicked off like 20 radio stations for that. She didn't get fired. She still hosts the show.
Crazy.
Like, it's really hard to get kicked off Free Talk Live because their whole shtick is be edgy and bold and like create drama. That's where Chris Cantwell came from, was that school of mentality in broadcasting.
Yeah. I don't know.
Exactly. That's where Chris Cantwell came from.
That's for sure.
Yeah, Chris Cantwell came from Free Talk Live, and they kept platforming and let him do it.
Yeah, and we were. If our intent, people have said it was our intent to remove Jackie from the party the whole time, but like, here we are in June when this all went down, and we took over on the EC in March. If we had malicious intent, what did we do for these past few months? We didn't talk about Jackie. We were busy working. Like, right. She's not in our committees. We're not interested in her. Yeah. If she wants to help door knock or something, fine. But
so let's go back to talking about who was on the committees, because a lot of the evidence that was shared with Karen and Harlos by Gilletta is screenshots from committee group chats of people who, it's largely been said, never participated in the committees, and who have been screenshotted in other Facebook groups, and especially the LP Caucus, the Pragmatic Caucus's Facebook group, talking about how the only reason they joined the committees and the reason they're not resigning is to monitor and screenshot and collect evidence against them.
Yeah, that's been very interesting. Yeah, when Gilletta sent in her evidence to the LNC of our supposed crimes, and we got to see that, certain members, I guess I'll just name names, Leslie, apparently only joined our committees so that she could surveil us. She didn't participate in the chats. She didn't come to the meetings. And now I believe she's been removed from all our committees because, according to our bylaws, you need to attend a certain number of meetings and consecutive absences without any excuse will result in your removal from the committee. And all she had to do was say she was working or something, and she could have stayed in the committees and never even went to a meeting. But all she was doing apparently was screenshotting what we're saying and looking for damning evidence. And I mean, I'm not in any of these caucuses, but I will take a Mises caucus person that shows up over somebody that's actively trying to sabotage our party any day of the week. It's a pretty easy decision there.
Who was it that said the Libertarian Party is the people who show up?
I'm not sure who said that, but it was Sarwark?
Nick Sarwark.
Yeah, that sounds like him. But yeah, and it very much is. It's not that big of a group. You know, if you want to get active, you just show up and say you want to help out, and you'll be in. You know, right. I think the pragmatic caucus people might have felt like they were getting pushed out or something like that, but it's just simply not the case. They expelled themselves from the party. You know, like I know Brian Shields felt like frustrated a lot, but I'm sorry, dude, you quit the executive committee 3 times in 12 months. Like
Brian Shields, about a week and a half after the convention, immediately, like the day after the convention, there was shit posts, people in the members group complaining, freaking out. Oh, it was taken over by Mises. The racists are destroying the party. I quit. But a week and a half later, Brian Shields apologized and rejoined. He sent me a personal message in which he said, actually, I'm going to go read it because it's not that far back.
Well, and then after that, though, he rejoined, and then we had him on our executive committee, not as a voting person, but just as prior chair, so he could advise. So he got to sit in on all our meetings, give input, whatever, discuss stuff with us. And then he on Facebook quit again and went silent for a little bit. And then eventually he hopped back on again, and we kind of just, he's back, let's just not say anything about his tantrum the other day, and let's let him contribute again. And then, a few weeks later, he quit again. So I don't know. I've never seen anybody quit that much in my life, but he's had a lot of chances.
So I got this message from Brian about a week after. I scrolled in too much. A week and a half after the convention. You came to me in November with your frustrations, and I didn't help. I'm sorry. I see now why you did what you did. You did more for the party in one convention than many of us done in years, and I recognize that now. It's taken me some time to come to terms with how bad the party had become under my leadership, and I directed a lot of that anger at you, and it was undeserved. Please accept my apology, and thank you for going above and beyond and to bring in so many members who actually want to do stuff. And this, to me, is my biggest problem with Brian Shields. Like this right here, when he sent me this message, I thought we had gotten through. I thought he had come to terms with the fact that the only way to sustain the party was to grow it, and that he was willing to accept the new members doing new members things. They might not know everything. They might not know all the ins and outs of how everything works, but they're motivated, they're excited, and they want to help. And that's something we hadn't seen in a long time. So why the hell? What changed with him? He was in your EC chat. What changed with him from that a week and a half after the convention to when he resigned? What do you have any
man? I wish I knew. I wish I knew. He's a stubborn fella, and I don't think he changed his ways in his what AJ's saying here, but I mean, he likes to argue a lot in the chat. He put up his feet against us a lot, and I don't know. As a EC, we've run a lot smoother since he left. A lot smoother. I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't play well with others sometimes. But I think a lot of what he gets frustrated by is his ineffectualness. I think it's just my personal opinion, but he'll make a lot of statements like those long paragraphs like that about these grandiose plans of what he's going to do and where the party's going to go and all these things we're going to do, and then I don't know if he just doesn't have the willpower to carry these things out or the know-how or what, but he just doesn't do them. Just doesn't follow through here.
It's wild. So I mean, all right, him gone, problem solved. New EC. The people who want to do work are in charge. Your focus is growing membership. And we've talked about that. I've talked about growing membership a lot and how I think in the past shows and past recent podcasts I've been a guest on, I've talked about my vision of how the best way to grow membership, not only in the Libertarian Party, but the Liberty Movement in general, is to recognize that politics is downstream from culture, and the best possible chance you're going to have at recruiting people into your political movement is by getting them first involved in your cultural movement.
Sure.
And we have seen a revival as of late, especially within the New Hampshire Liberty community, as you talked about earlier. All of the potlucks, all of the market days, everything we kept going to give people something to do, to give people a community to rely on and people to be involved with during COVID, during the lockdowns when the government told them they weren't allowed to have that. Do you plan to gear LPNH membership and outreach more towards that community aspect and reaching out to the tens of thousands of libertarians that are already in New Hampshire but aren't politically involved, and finding a way to get them more involved in the political aspect of it?
Yeah, that's absolutely the plan. And, part of that plan is just communicating with our other liberty groups in the state as well. The Libertarian Party in other states doesn't have other liberty groups that they can work with. But here we have, Young Americans for Liberty loves coming out here. But we also have Americans for Prosperity, New Hampshire Liberty Alliance, the Free State Project, and then other little tiny groups and clubs and stuff. Well, I call them tiny, but I guess compared to the rest of the state, these are big liberty groups, much bigger. Our liberty clubs have more members than most county affiliates do for libertarian parties in the other states.
Now, speaking of our liberty clubs, AJ has a very poignant question in the chat for you. How much quill coin are you going to buy?
We shall see.
For anybody watching right now who's unfamiliar with what AJ is talking about there, Quillcoin. Quillcoin is a cryptocurrency. It's a NFT-based cryptocurrency on the Simple Ledger blockchain with Bitcoin Cash that we're using as a fundraising mechanism because, as Stephen's talked about, the importance of the clubs, the importance of the community centers, and everything to the libertarian community here in New Hampshire, and how that's been great in helping build our movement, if not our party yet. The Quill is the oldest and the first of these. It's been around for about a little over 10 years now. It's operated as a private members-only club that's catered to the libertarian community in the greater Manchester area. Recently, in the past year, Stephen's gone and started the third. There was a second out in Keene, but that one got shut down. So now Stephen's is the third, but second operating.
Fourth?
Which one am I forgetting?
The Praxium.
Was the Praxium ever really a club?
Yeah.
Okay, so Stephen's around the fourth.
I mean, I don't know. Clubhouse. I don't know.
Note of the shell. And
yeah, we're number 4.
Yeah, we're planning to grow the organization because we're planning to make it an organization. Right now, it's just a bunch of independent clubs. Now, Stephen's not fully involved with the shell yet with what we're planning because we haven't pitched it to them yet on an official level. But here at the members of the Quill, a bunch of us put together a business plan to reconstitute as a actual 501c7 fraternal order to go above ground. We're coming out. The Quill's
which we already are a 501c7 at the shell.
Awesome. Yeah. Which means all you would have to do to charter is sign the piece of paper and agree to charter with the Fraternal Order of the Porcupines as lodge number 2.
We're almost
in shell.
We're basically, sorry to interrupt, but we're basically almost partners already because we already have affiliate membership with each other. Where if you're a member of one and then become a member of another, you get kind of a discounted affiliate membership,
right,
and vice versa. So we're already like trying to partner up a little bit here,
and we want to make that a official, long-standing thing. And in order to do that, because right now we're at a crossroads with that community, we've been renting a commercial space to host the Quill for the past 10 years, and the building is up for sale. That poses a huge risk for us, but also a huge opportunity. Because if we can fundraise the money to buy that building, it would establish a permanent, like nothing can kick us out of the building that we own at that point. And we want to take this public. The Quill's coming out. I've heard the Quill referenced as the Studio 34 of the Liberty Movement because of the amount of celebritarians and celebrities that have hung out there over the years, including most of Reason's editorial staff, LNC members, presidential candidates, Vermin Supreme's a regular presence during campaign years in the basement. We had Kyle Mann from Babylon Bee hanging out with us last year when he was in New Hampshire for a visit. And it really is like the center of the Liberty community in Manchester. So I've got a GoFundMe link scrolling across the bottom right now. If you guys want to chip that into your brain, you can go to gofundme.com/f/save the quill and chip in. We are almost to $140,000 raised already. Our goal is $600,000, but we do have a couple meetings in the upcoming weeks with some donors who have voiced their interest in six-figure plus donations. The more we have going into those meetings, the better our case is. We're looking to get another $200,000 this Friday. So every donation, $5, $10, $50, $1,000 helps us out. If you want to get information on the quill coins that AJ was talking about, emergentorder.io. That's the nonprofit we founded that is helping run this fundraising drive and to do the acquisition of the property. And the quill coins for about any donation over $1,000 is rewarded with quill tokens, which you can use to pay for your membership at the quill, to buy a lifetime membership if you have enough of them, or there will be reverse auctions in the future where we're going to start purchasing them back from people at a higher rate than what they were sold for. So mark that. It's emergentorder.io, and keep an eye on that GoFundMe link at the bottom. Please take a chance to go visit that. Anybody who's watching this now, in the next couple of weeks, we got to drive to push this by the end of the summer. PorcFest is going to be our big swing for it. But this is awesome. And it's a great thing for the Liberty movement, because when we have a permanent community center and we start expanding, and it's not just the quill, the shell, the praxium, we start talking about the barn up in the Lakes region. We start talking about building one out in Claremont to help the homeschooling and the farmer community out in Claremont. This is how we actually grow not just the party, but the movement as a whole.
It's exciting. Yeah. And if this is the kind of thing that excites you and you don't already live in New Hampshire, get down here, join us. Even just come visit us and see what it's like. Our goal is 150 by the end of the stream. How close are we to 150?
Right now, we are sitting at $136,000, $136,365.
Oh, we can do it. I don't know how many people are on this stream.
We want to do that. If people on the stream want to chip in, jump in, that is the GoFundMe link scrolling on the bottom. If we could hit 150,000 by the end of the stream, you guys would make my goddamn night. But I mean, what we're doing here, we're doing it because it's what matters to us. And this is how we're growing the movement. This is how we're growing the party. AJ, yes, we did also talk about letting Adam Kakesh open up a new lodge at the Freedom Garden in Arizona, take this thing multi-state. We've had interest from a couple people in Los Angeles who are already running underground speakeasies and want to make them lodges and clubs within the network. Well, Steven's right. Like, this is the stuff that's already happening in the Liberty movement and Liberty community in New Hampshire. We want to take it national. There's no reason it has to stay here. These are community centers that provide a service to their community.
And we're testing out lots of this stuff here, right? Like, you're testing out your quill coin, and I'm trying to like make sure the shell is like a cookie cutter concept where we determined like the minimum number of people that needed to become members to make it viable, and the minimum amount of money you needed, which was very small. It was like, if you could get 14 people together and say that they'll each pay $100, you're like good. You're good to go. You can open your own Liberty Community Center as long as you have 14 dedicated people. It worked out pretty well. That's a question for you.
You're down. You love crypto. Everyone loves crypto, Mike. It's the wave of the future. If you go to the GoFundMe link and below, we do have crypto addresses for 6 of the big cryptos where you can donate in cryptocurrency to those addresses or donate via the GoFundMe. If you want information on how to get Quill Coin in return for any donation over $1,000, you can email info@emergentorder.io. Again, that's info@emergentorder.io. That's the website for the nonprofit. And one of our board members will get back to you and help you walk through the process. But it is something we are absolutely trying to go outside just the New Hampshire libertarian community, because this is important to the libertarian and liberty movements as a whole, in my opinion. And it is going to be, it's our culture that's upstream from our politics. And we're going to drive our political growth and our political membership based on how we fix our how we gear our culture and how we support our communities. And that is what I'm here for.
Absolutely. Same here. And they feed into each other so well. They just go hand in hand at the end of the day.
Cowboy, I don't think Joe has blocked me on Twitter yet, but I haven't been on in about an hour. So we'll see what's going on there. I did tweet out last night that Joe Bishop Henchman is theft. So AJ, you're absolutely right. We're moving beyond saving the quill. We're looking to expand it. We're growing it. We're making it a movement. That's the other thing. You can get in on the ground floor right now with Save the Quill. And when it becomes Expand the Quill, and you can say for $5,000, you can get 5 quill tokens and exchange them for a lifetime membership. Get a plaque with your name on the wall at the quill, and you're going to be there emblazoned forever when this becomes a big national organization. That you were one of the ones that helped make that happen.
So. And our organizations are always expanding and growing and looking for new ways to innovate. That's what you got to do.
Southern, we are fighting the fight for a lot of people in New Hampshire. We can't do it alone. Like Stephen mentioned, he's grown membership in the Libertarian Party by over 50% in just a few months. That's not enough. We don't have enough boots on the ground. I ran for U.S. Senate last year to try and get ballot access for the Libertarian Party. AJ Olding traveled the state with me constantly every weekend. We were talking to different people in different cities and different towns all across the state. We don't have enough help. We need more help. If you want to get involved and you want to help, reach out to Stephen. He can help you get involved. He can point you in the direction where you can help us, because we're fighting the fight, but we need more people to help fight it with us.
And there's so much to do all the time. It doesn't matter what you're interested in. There's a ton to do. We definitely need more organizers.
Absolutely. Michael, I'm going to put up right there for you. It's emergentorder.io. That's our website for the nonprofit. It's not the cleanest website in the world. I'm not a tech guy. I just learned how to use GitHub like 2 months ago. So it's as good as it's getting for right now, but we are improving it and making it work as we go. And we're looking to bring on more people to help in the future, more maybe on the tech side as we do expand. Southern says they're coming to PorcFest. Definitely going to see you at PorcFest.
Say hi. Come say hi. If you want to volunteer for the LP at PorcFest, we will have ways for you to do so.
What side are you going to be at, Stephen? Where's your lounge?
Well, we have the Seacoast Liberty Lounge at PorcFest. Yep. I don't think there's a site number for it, but it's by the Red Cabins. So if you look on the map, It's kind of like centrally located. Red Cabin. We'll have a big Seacoast Liberty Lounge, which will basically be representing the Shell and our other Liberty organizations on the Seacoast there. And I know you guys will have some quill-related activities, right?
Yep, we're going to have the Quillette Lounge down at the bottom of the hill. Little walk back about 4 rows in from the bottom of the hill near Agora Valley. And we're going to have a bumping 24/7 party. We get a big lounge. We got bringing furniture in, lasers, lights, smoke machines, the works. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, and then if you want to participate with the Libertarian Party stuff, unfortunately, like Quill sold out the PorcFest sold out so fast this year that in the time between our executive committee, us taking over and getting up to speed, we were not able to get a space for the Libertarian Party. So we're taking a more proactive approach to how we're going to do outreach there, and we're going to go to the people. So there's going to be more than 2,000 people there. Rather than wait for them to come to us, we're going to go to them, and we're going to be traveling around, getting people to sign up for ideally memberships, hopefully taking the Nolan quiz if they're interested in that, because we don't know. There could be some people that are kind of newer to Liberty there. But then if there's just people that just want to support us generally, we'll be building our contact list out for our newsletter.
Yep. AJ, there is going to be a flag burning at PorcFest. And it's nothing nefarious. Honestly, the flag burning we're doing at PorcFest is going to be a symbolic rejection of symbols and ideologies. I'm burning a thin blue line flag and an American flag. And I
don't know if I want to burn mine.
Also burning a UN.
Can you read
flag.
that in the chat?
What does it say?
Cold beer.
Cold beer, I mean, it's not really an ideology. It's just
it's going with me to Pork Fest, but
but no, I had actually triggered a good number of people in a clubhouse room when I was talking with the flag burning and talking about people get involved and like they're coming to Pork Fest. This is something we want to do. It's going to be a collective rejection of ideology and symbols of not just symbols of oppression, which a lot of flags are, but symbols of ideology. Bring different national flags. I got a Chinese flag, Russian flag, thin blue line flags, American flags, burning them all together. And everyone was like, yeah, great idea. And like, and I got my pride flag too. Like, you bigot, you horrible person. I'm like, no, it's a rejection of everything together because like, I get it. The pride should be what we always understood pride to be, a rejection of shame. That's what the pride movement is. But the pride flag is a symbol of an ideology. And too many people, in my opinion, in a movement that I belong to identify themselves solely as part of it. And that's the extent of their personalities. That's the extent of their activism, their philosophy. So I want to burn flags to burn symbols of groupthink and symbols of identity and get back to identifying people as individuals. And that is what we need.
Fantastic.
Rich Clark, nothing is more American than burning Old Glory. You get put to death in other countries for burning flags. It means freedom. Absolutely. Okay.
Look, we could burn some American flags, but we could burn some pirate flags, some white pacifist flags. We could
Free State Project flags.
Yeah, we could go all over the place. There's so many options.
God hates flags. I don't think you should speak for him, AJ, but I'm an atheist, and I do believe that he probably does hate flags.
Probably does. Probably.
Seems AJ, it is a NAP violation to steal a flag from Brandon. If you want to purchase a straight pride flag from Brandon and then burn the straight pride flag, that'd be awesome. As much as I think the straight pride flags are detestable and annoying and they exist only as a protest of the pride movement. Again, I hate the flags, but the pride movement is about equal rights and human rights. And the straight pride movement existing simply as a protest to people celebrating their human rights and their right to exist. I'd love to burn a straight pride flag. I'm not going to pay Brandon $10 for a straight pride flag. And if somebody steals one from him, that would be just as bad, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. Are there any caucus flags in this group?
AJ, if you can find the caucus flags, I will burn every one of them.
Do caucuses have flags?
I don't know if I've ever seen one. They would definitely need to. I did a podcast with Reed Coverdale and Joe Evans a couple months ago called No Caucus for Old Men, because we were like the last three big name people in the LP influence circles that weren't part of any caucus, and we spoke out against any caucuses.
Are they still out of caucuses? Because I know
Joe is now. Me and Reed both joined the Mises Caucus in reaction to the corruption in the LNC. Unfortunately, when the LNC pulls a nuclear option, you can't fight back without a nuke. The Mises Caucus is a nuke. I joined the Mises Caucus to be able to use the nuke as a deterrent.
I've joined caucuses in the past. I'm just not currently a part of one. But none of my caucus membership has been worth it at all. I've joined the secular caucus before, and that was a huge waste of time that did nothing.
They kept trying to convince us to be Democrats.
Yeah, completely pointless. And then I was a member of the Radical Caucus back when it used to be Pragmatics versus Radicals. And, I went to a few meetings, and it was all great on the local level. And then I went to the convention in New Orleans a few years ago and went to their radical meeting, and I walked out of the meeting. It was extremely disappointing. And I was sitting pretty close to the front too, so I had to walk by everybody on the way out. But it was a waste of time, Word to the wise: if you're gonna have a meeting, have an agenda. Don't immediately start saying, "All right, everybody, let's go around the room, say your name, and say like where you're from and a fun fact about yourself." Don't do that.
You're starting to sound like a prag, Stephen.
Yeah, that's living life effectively is extremely pragmatic, I guess.
The Darius point here, joining the Mises Caucus is pragmatic. And right now, honestly, when joining the Mises Caucus is the action we have to defend against corruption in the LNC, yeah, That's the pragmatic approach for me right now. And I hate to say it, I hate the idea of caucuses. All my problems in the past with the Mises Caucus haven't been about the members or the ideology. It's been about how the caucus was run and how its national leadership approached internal politics. Unfortunately, that's the option we have right now because the Mises Caucus are the ones standing up against the corruption.
Yeah, they're showing up, and all, I don't know, maybe there's some less savory Mises Caucus people around the country. I don't know. I haven't met them. All the ones here locally, fantastic people. Love working with them. In my personal and professional opinion, I have noticed no bigotry of any sort amongst them, contrary to the opinion of some others.
Well, one individual who everyone claims is Mises tweeted on his personal Twitter some racist shit, but he's not even Mises Caucus. He's been a member on and off of LPNH for like the past 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you and I, we predate the Mises Caucus, and we'll probably be here after Mises Caucus. Like that's the way these things go.
I kind of want to end this on a positive note, on a positive spin. We have all this drama. We have all this huge, massive setback for the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire that's going to reverberate and have cascading effects for the Libertarian Party across the country because it's shaken the trust in the foundation of the party, the LNC, the central piece of the party has really, really done itself a disservice in how the affiliates in the different state parties and county parties and local parties place their trust in that higher party that they affiliate with. I pointed out yesterday that these are growing pains. And the growing pains of the party are a sign that we're growing. That's a good thing. I guarantee if you want to look back at the history of the major political parties, there were times where this has happened to the Republicans and the Democrats as part of their growing. Hell, the Republicans split from the Whigs in a violent schism to become a party. That's how they started. Growing pains of small parties means that we are growing. And when I was posting on Twitter about the theft of LPNH's assets, and somebody asked what assets, and I described the storage locker, the response I got was, the most surprising part of this drama is that the Libertarian Party had assets. Because people are so
lots of assets.
The people are so used to thinking of the Libertarian Party as an irrelevant organization that didn't have money, didn't have assets, didn't do anything. AJ is correcting me. Republicans split from the Democrats, not the Whigs. You might want to check that, AJ. You might be thinking of the Democratic Republicans, which was another failed third party. But no, we're growing. And we're going to get through this. We're going to move through this. But in order to do so, we need everybody to buckle up and do it. Now, Stephen, Trisha, and other people, Southern, in the comments and who've been watching have been asking how to get in touch with you. You're the REC member. The website is down. How can people who want to help get involved other than signing the petition at savelpnh.com? How can they get in touch with the EC now?
If they want to get in touch with me, why don't you shoot me an email at one of my activism emails? Do STEPHEN, so Stephen at FSP.org.
I'm going to pop that up for
you
right now.
Stephen that'll get to me.
.org. So if Trisha, take note of that if you want to get in touch with Stephen now. That is a different organizational email for a different organization.
Totally different organization that I volunteer with. But it's better than giving my personal email on a stream that's going to go on the internet forever.
Yeah, but we have learned our lesson. Also, Trisha,
I've been getting a lot of hate mail this week, so I'd rather not give that out.
So, Trisha, since you wanted a list of the committee members, the
executive committee,
the current interim vice chair of the party right now is Nolan Pelletier.
Well, he is the vice chair.
Well, the current interim chair.
Interim chair, yeah.
Interim chair and vice chair is Nolan Pelletier. The treasurer is Sean Brennan. Stephen is one of our at-large representatives, and Sean Dempsey is our other at-large representative. But you get that contact information. You can get in touch with Stephen if you have any questions for them. He can get you in touch with them after this.
Mm-hmm.
So,
absolutely, and I would love to do so.
I'm sorry. Hey, I got to get my watch hours up on YouTube, Trisha. But thank you for helping. If you have any other questions, again, everybody, as always, links in the description for my CoinTree link list, all my social media. My DMs on Twitter are always open. You're feel free to message me on Twitter. You got Steven's email now, so you can feel free to bother him. It's not doxing. He said it on the air. We've been at this for an hour. Anything you want to leave people with, Steven?
No, I mean, join the Free State Project. Join us. And if you're already here in New Hampshire, I want to see you. I want to see you somewhere. I want to meet you in person. Whatever I got to do.
For those of you we will see next week at PorcFest, looking forward to it.